Storygram Network.
Hello, we are the Sonoma Community Center podcast, a place of creativity, connection, and community. We highlight the artists, teachers, and the community that come through the doors of our historic brick building, often called the heart of Sonoma. We share local tips and shout outs to our home, Sonoma Valley. And we are your hosts. I'm Molly Spencer.
Gerardo Diaz.
We are the engagement team of the Sonoma Community Center.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sonoma Community Center podcast. I am Molly Spencer.
And Gerardo Diaz.
We are back. It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Has it?
It's been a while. It's like I had to dust this thing off right here, the mics, you know?
Exactly. How do we do this again?
I know.
Just
it's
talk?
like, I think we did. I thought we had like a schedule or something. Didn't we used to get
Ideally, I
like
know
a program.
I know consistency is everything, folks, but we're back in it. We had a little break as far as we had a couple of very big experiences called Trash and Fashion Sonoma, which involved all of us, really, including Takeshi, our sound master, who sound edited and mastered the whole show. And we thank you so much, Takeshi. You did an amazing job. And Gerardo, you lit up all the bar and the food connections.
It's one of my favorite events, though, to be honest.
It's fun.
It's really fun.
And what has happened out of Trash and Fashion Sonoma this year is we are developing a trash and / sustainability department. So what that means is I went to a zero waste symposium yesterday and I thought, I'll probably cut out on some of these speeches. Everything was interesting. There's a lady over in Vallejo who is just doing her own thing, creative reuse, art materials, and holding like her own podcasts and shows. And anyway, I'm inspired and intrigued, and we're going to bring back more things, events, programming, all sorts of things in the future. Starting off right away, as I know this will be out by then, we have our first clothing swap that will be happening on May 18th. You want to know more about that? Yeah. Okay. So first of hopefully many, we are partnering with Refilled Madness Sonoma, which is a reuse store in Sonoma. And what will happen is May 18th is actually, we're the location of the clothing swap. But the week prior, people are welcome to drop off any clothes, any shoes, anything that's not dirty or stained, or that sort of thing that's pretty good that you would want to wear, but you're done and now you want something else to wear. It's a great way to recycle, kind of fight that fast fashion perspective and drop them off there, and then come on the 18th to the front of the community center and swap out for your new duds.
You know, my kid always tells me when he used to go to the thrift stores and get clothes, he's like, it's new to me, Dad.
Yeah.
So,
that's hopefully the attitude we're trying to change here, at least a little bit at a time, especially with teenagers.
I think it's a big thing. I think they like going to thrift shop.
They do a lot. I know I used to do that just because, they're like, oh, really? You want those Guess jeans in the 80s? You better get a job.
Molly, I'm going to tell you a story.
Started thrifting and found some style.
I'm going to tell you a story that, I always laugh. A long time ago when I was like in 7th grade, I had this crush on this girl, right? And my mom used to buy me my clothes back in the day. And she used to tell me that she used to get it from Sears. So one time I was wearing these pants that she bought me. And this girl that I had a crush on, she's like, oh, I think those are my dad's pants. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
No, they're not. I'm like, my mom bought them for me. She was like, no, those are my dad's. He usually put his name on his jeans. Soon enough, that name was in that jeans. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So
I think you told me this story before, so it's true.
Whoa. No, never again. Not from Sears. I told my mom, hey, you see?
No more. I know. Yeah, there used to be kind of this embarrassment behind it, but kids are a lot more aware these days. But they're also, I know, because I have a teenage daughter, they get caught up in this consumerism. You're on social media, and every other block is a pop-up ad for clothing, and they're kind of stuff. They're buying into this need and want and more and more and more. So if you can balance it out, no kids are going to be perfect, but if they can balance it out, I know my
kid buys all these clothes from people online. I guess they got this thing where they buy it online. And and I'm like, dude, it's you. She's like, yeah, it's new to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, all right, I don't mind. I don't care, But
Hence my Metallica shirt I stole from my daughter that she inherited from somebody else. I'm like, well, I was actually there. So that's how old I am. But we have a giggler, laugher, a wonderful person over here that's joining us today. And that is our new ceramics artist in residence. Not so new. You've been here for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Haylie Jimenez.
Yeah.
Hi, happy to be here with you guys.
Welcome.
Nice.
I know. It's a beautiful day.
It is.
You came for a good session.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's been pretty nice so far, huh?
Yeah, and it's, I was in Chicago right before this, and it was 10 degrees. Right the day before, actually, it was the day I got on the plane to come here, and I was like, bye.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Good weather.
I'm going to be in California now.
Exactly.
For the winter. Yeah, so it's really lovely.
Yeah, you get to rock your shorts here, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like it was like 80 yesterday. I was like showing so much skin walking around Sonoma, and everyone had like hoodies on. I was like, oh, okay.
I remember moving back from New York, and I moved back in the middle of January. And the first thing I went to Santa Barbara to see a friend. I'm just like,
oh yeah.
I'm wearing my California.
It
it acclimates pretty fast to wherever you are. Except sometimes going the other way. Oh, it's chilly back there in those winters.
Yeah. It's gnarly. I know. I feel like because I'm originally from Georgia.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Chicago in 2016 for school. So it was like less humid. So I don't know. It still gets kind of cold in Georgia, like in the winter. But then my friends from California that I met in Chicago, they were struggling. Like they were having a hard time adjusting because it's just moderate all year round. Yeah.
It is true. I grew up in South Carolina for a while. So I am familiar that it gets cold down there and it snows, but more slushy.
Yeah.
It's really slush. It's just the gross part of the snow process.
It's just swampy, right? Because it's just so humid, like mostly in summer, but you feel that.
You're sticky.
Making the, exactly.
Oh, it's bad, yeah.
That's how it gets where I'm from in Mazatlan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super humid too.
I mean, if you think about it, on the equator wise, Georgia, I lived in the top of South Carolina, and Mazatlan are pretty much along the same.
And Mazatlan, you can see the steam coming out of the ground. And you're like,
where's that coming from?
And then one day it'll be really sunny, and then the next day will be rainy in Mazatlan. And you're like,
torrential downpour. Yeah. I was actually born in Florida.
All
over the south.
Yeah.
So it was like direct hurricanes there, and then Georgia gets like the end of the hurricane. So it's still like a lot of rain, but not as dire.
But I like the smell of when it's rain. I like the smell that I don't know. I
like the pavement how it smells.
It's pretty nice.
Dirt how it smells.
Yeah, it's kind of comforting. Nostalgic.
So you were born in Florida, you said.
Yeah, like Orlando.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're all product of Disney World. No, quite the opposite. If you see a picture of Haylie over here, a rebellion against the Disney World,
right?
For sure. So I know, and I don't know if Gerardo knows this, but I know you have a twin sister.
I do.
No way.
Yeah, I have a twin. Yeah, she's also in ceramics.
How do we know we're getting Haylie to them? How do we know?
She did visit the center in April.
She
did.
So we could have switched. You don't know.
What?
We'll never know. Got the same tattoos?
No. She has like longer hair, a lot more like feminine, I feel like her style.
Other siblings or?
Yeah, I grew up with a brother in Georgia, and then I have like 4 other siblings. This is going to be crazy to you guys. I have another pair of twin sisters who are also Scorpios. In New York.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was there ever at a time in the household that those 4 Scorpios, are they women?
They are, yeah. They're girls, yeah.
4 Scorpio women's?
Wow.
Throwing it down in one household?
Is it from your mom or your dad?
From my dad.
Well, so is it your dad twin or something? Or
no, I don't know what it is. Because it's interesting because identical twins, it's not actually like genetic. It's just kind of randomly shows up.
Wow.
So I don't know.
Were they identical as well?
Yeah, they are. And what the? I know.
What a lucky dad.
And they look like spinning images of my father. It was a sad meeting because we met at his funeral last year.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, right. But it was definitely like unfortunate circumstances, but it was really great to meet them because we had like heard about them and talked a little bit.
You never met?
So you never met them until last year?
Wow,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. So I got to show you this photo. And they're like 14, I think, going on 15. And we're all the same height, which is funny. But then we're like 10 years older than them.
That's really cool, though, that you get to meet your other sisters and stuff like that. Yeah. And then they're willing to meet you, too.
Right.
I never met my father, and then when I find out where he lives and stuff, I try to invite him to my wedding. So I called him, and my brothers, his other sons, they answer the phone. He's like, "Shut up, you bastard! We don't want to go meet you."
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, never met him.
I met a sister last year too.
So you're lucky.
I met an older sister.
Yeah, for sure.
So, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys still talking?
We are, yeah. We have like all the socials together, and like I think me and Sydnie are gonna go to New York because they live in New York in July, so we'll probably see them again,
Nice.
which will be sweet. Yeah.
Where in New York?
I think they're like East Harlem.
Okay.
All my family's Dominican, so like they like all kind of roosted up there. Yeah.
Baseball players, huh?
Yeah. That's apparently the lore of like how my family came over here was like
no way.
Tell
my
us
great
about
great grandfather or whoever, whatever great, he was like a baseball player and like
really good
was the
baseball
first
players over
to
there.
roost in New York. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. Yeah,
No
that's
way.
pretty cool.
New York,
Yeah.
and then found yourselves down in Florida, or kind of all over the place?
Yeah. It's an interesting story because my mom also is not from the South. She's from Pennsylvania area. Her and my dad met in like Florida, and then my tia also, my dad's sister, was in Florida too for some reason. I don't really know why she was there, but then I was like, why are we here? I don't know. Yeah, and then we moved to Georgia. My mom did because her parents had moved there for like work or something, but it was like a more rural area. In Orlando, we moved to rural Georgia, and it was like third grade, and we were like, oh, good one, Mom, like we're not moving to Georgia, like what are you talking about? And then she was like, oh yeah, we are. And then she like packs up in that summer. We're like, oh my god. So
like
it was like
gypsies, huh?
yeah, truly, yeah. So that was definitely like a big cultural like shock for sure.
Yeah.
But then we found out like a year later, my dad's sister that was in Florida had moved to Tennessee, which was like 20 minutes from our house.
Yeah.
So then that was like kind of cool because I was able to like reconnect a little bit with that side of the family.
By Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, but closer like on the Tennessee.
Exactly. It was like an hour above Atlanta. So kind of like, right on the Georgia-Tennessee border.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I drove through there.
Yeah.
We lived in South Carolina when I was super young.
Oh, okay.
And we went to Georgia a couple of times outside of Atlanta, up in that corner, because we lived in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is a little bit north. The only thing I remember from Georgia is the whole family, like me and my three brothers are in the car driving out in the green station wagon with wooden sidings. I kid you not. And we stopped for Peaches, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what that first stop was super like just the windiest roads.
Oh, yeah. I could make the Appalachian Mountains right there.
Yep. My brother barfed. I barfed. We all barfed. It was the beginning of the trip. It was a terrible. Georgia Peaches don't take windy roads, folks, if you're going to start a road trip. And eat peaches. But yeah, so you find yourself in Georgia. How was growing up? Like, what'd you guys do when you were illustrating? You've been drawing, it seems like, since you were very young.
Yeah, since I can remember, I feel like. I think a lot of like people like when they're kids can relate to. I just continued.
Yeah.
And then also Sydnie simultaneously is also drawing at the same time. Yeah, like the same amount. I don't know. We always just had a similar interest, so like that kind of worked out. I think people are always like, "Oh, like,
are you opposites?"
Yeah. Or they're always, I think sometimes people are shocked that we are both in arts and specifically ceramics, like at this point in our lives, and it's like I'm like I don't know, it just kind of naturally occurred that way.
So does it mean that we're gonna get your sister next after you leave here?
Maybe, you never know.
It's too bad we didn't get both of you at the same time.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, right before this, I was in Chicago for a few months, but before that, we were in Montana at a residency together for like over a year. But then we were like, well, like we were there for a long time together, like. And then she did a residency in Chicago. She started one, which she's doing right now. And then I applied to this one. But we do them together sometimes.
You know, next time your sister comes in, we can do like a little prank on people. You walk upstairs and then she'll walk on the other side and then you're like, hi, how you doing? And then, hi, how you doing? What the hell?
Too bad she
was
won't
in my
be.
water?
Yeah, exactly.
At the opening, I know.
At the opening, send in your sister and you're all, you know what? I got a case of the nerves. You're going in. Send her just to see who notices, who's really paying attention.
People always ask if we ever like switched places in school. And I think like it just never, I don't know. We always had like similar friend groups too. I think one time I have a memory of us like okay, you go to my class this morning and I'll go to your class. And then we like didn't plan it. We didn't know where each other sat. And then and then one of our friends was like, what are you doing in here, Haylie? And I was like, never mind. I was like, I'm here. And then that was it. That was the extent of what we tried.
Busted. Nice. Yeah, your good friend group. You guys have the similar friend group. You've always had kind of this running with the same friend group.
So. Yeah, because I feel like growing up in Georgia, we kind of were in like a lower income, like poor, like white area mostly. So I think like I don't know, like at school and like around the neighborhood, we just kind of flocked to like the other like people of color.
Yeah.
Is your mom white?
Yeah, she's white. Yeah.
Oh, why?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that might be partially the reason.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like it's kind of like continued.
It's funny because you're like light skinned with like curly hair.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we got some epic hair going on in the house today of podcasts.
Yeah.
Haylie's hair is curly. Takeshi's is next level. reaching some new heights.
And I wish I can have hair.
Yeah. The beard, though, you know?
Yeah. Yours grows downwards. Just a different place.
Yeah.
Same hair amount.
Yeah.
So you reach this point when you're like a kid or something. I know you're drawing and you're doing all that, but did you have teachers or mentors or your family? Was there anybody there that was like, you got to keep on going with this, you know, kind of encouraging you? Or was it just like, I'm doing this. This is what I know.
My mom, she's always been really supportive. I feel like we've always kind of been like pretty like lower income. We moved to like a trailer in Georgia, so that's kind of where most of my memories of childhood's from. Like kind of like living in this trailer park. It didn't feel that way when we were growing up. Like she always kept it really positive and stuff like that. And it's always been super supportive of anything that we wanted to do. You know, because you hear about parents being like, "Oh, don't pursue art. You're not gonna make a living." Like she was always like, "Do whatever you want. You might as well like." This is your only life, and which was like super helpful. When I went to college, it was the first time I experienced or hearing other people not having parents like that, kind of like dogging on what they wanted to do in life, and I was like, oh, this is like a big thing. She has always been there. It wasn't
an obstacle on the parental support unit.
For sure.
Which is cool.
Yeah, and then in high school, we were like an art club. Like me and Sydnie were an art club, and our high school art teacher was very supportive of
the art
wanting
club
to pursue art and things like that. And because Chattanooga, Tennessee is kind of like the main city that we were like nearby, and the place that we grew up was like a part of the greater Chattanooga area. So anytime there was like art contests, she would try to get us into them and stuff like that, which was like funny to think about now. But yeah, so I think like those two are the main adult figures that were kind of like very much pushing us to pursue that creativity.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Is your sister also started out in illustrating and that sort of things?
Yeah.
First of all, your work is so colorful. Like even your early graphics work and all that.
I was going to make a really dumb question. I was like, is your sister younger than you? And then I remember, and I'm like, it's a twin sister.
Technically 7 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. Is she the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't that dumb then.
Right, yeah. But she got into ceramics a lot earlier than me, actually, though. But because starting college, we both came in with like a drawing and painting background, but then
And going back to Georgia, when you guys were in high school, did you both apply for Chicago?
Yes.
The same place?
Well, we applied to a few different places. And then we kind of decided that on Chicago, because they give us like the most scholarships. And it was like far enough from home where we were like, your mom's not going to be visiting us every weekend, you know? But also like close enough to where you could like take a bus back, you know? Or like a cheap, flight or whatever. Yeah, so mostly painting and drawing in high school, just because that's like the most accessible, I feel like, things. And then when I got into college, I started animation classes because that's something I've always been kind of interested in. And then Sydnie started ceramics pretty immediately, because what's really great about SAIC is that the ceramics program was basically fully funded. So it was like the materials were free and the firings were free, which is like very rare, I think, in any kind of ceramic scenario. Because that's what a lot of people are turned off about the medium, because it can be expensive, and like having access to like anything to actually finish it is also very expensive, which is nice about residencies. But anyways, so Sydnie kind of took that path all 4 years, and then I really only took a ceramic class once in my whole 4 years of college. I was mostly doing animation and printmaking and comics. So I saw
that. So some great.
For a long time I thought I was gonna kind of work in like studio animation, you know, like ads, agencies and stuff like that.
Well, what do you think about that?
Well, you know,
it seems time consuming. Just a little bit we got from COVID doing some of the editing and stuff.
Sure, yeah. So in junior year, I think it was, we were in like this professional practices classes, kind of for professional development and careers, like after school and stuff. And in the class that I was in, we went to like this ad firm or something. And so they were doing like live filming of commercials, but then also there was like a portion of people talking about graphic design portion of animation. And it just seemed very draining to me, like being in that scenario. So I think I quickly veered off into like experimental animation, because I still wanted to like take advantage of really this important like medium that I like loved and have so much nostalgia for growing up and stuff like that. So I guess after school and a little bit during school, I would do like commissions and like work on music videos for friends and stuff, which was like really fun. But then I kind of just moved to ceramics for a little bit, and then kind of just working on these tiles. But then like recently, especially what I've been working on here, I've been merging the two. So I've been kind of doing the ceramic tiles as like the cells of the animations. So I'm shooting like the tiles, so you're seeing the texture of all the ceramics glazes and like the clay bodies and things like that kind of showing up on film. Yeah.
I'm going to pause people just so that if they want to get a visual on this, to go to your Instagram, because I love it. It's very serene just watching like your latest tile work. It literally looks like your drawings are coming out of the clay. Tell them where they can find you on Instagram to get a visual of what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's at _H4YLI3.
Yes. Haylie Jimenez.
Yeah, Haylie Jimenez. Yep.
And that brings us to, there was a little veering there, and we're going to come back to this and talk about your recent work, your tile work, and what you're doing for this show, which is, I think, kind of continuing what you have been working on through Chicago. But you took a little detour into tattooing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, tattooing, and you were down in LA for a bit?
So I tattooed a couple times in LA, but mostly in Chicago. That's where like I learned, because I think I first got my materials in 2019. That was right before I graduated. And then quarantine hit, and I had so much time.
Yeah.
Clearly. So all my friends were also like, I want tattoos. Like, you got it? The machine? Like, I feel very thankful, but also like, I'm like, you guys now have kind of
some practicing
tattoos.
I've been there.
Yeah, but then, I appreciate it because it's very like nostalgic, and it's like, even if it doesn't look the most, I
got my first tattoo when I was 13.
Oh yeah? Was it hand poke or was it machine?
Yeah, no, it was they used
I love you guys, hand poke.
A little cart with a motor. And the guy came out from prison, and he was looking to try. So he did this one right here.
Oh yeah,
and
nice.
he's misspelled my name too.
Oh my God, are you serious? What does it say on there?
There's supposed to be an I, and that's a J.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Old English? Digas.
Well, see, because it's Old English, like you can't tell. It just has a little tail.
And it was so bumpy when he did it, though.
Oh, yeah, because it's kind of a little deep in there.
Oh, yeah. First time, Nice. I was 13. I thought it was cool, but...
Yeah.
How did you figure out with just the pressure? And do you have your friends come back to you now? And are there any that are like, oh no? Or are there any that are like, I want more?
Oh yeah, they constantly want more, which I love. Honestly, one of my biggest tattoo supporters is my mother.
Really?
Every time I come back, she's like, when are you gonna give me a tattoo?
Did she give her? Have you given her tattoos?
Can I put me on the list for a tattoo?
Yeah. I have my stuff here.
Me and my wife want a tattoo.
Oh really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was actually tattooing in Oakland last week.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, my friend works at the shop called Tres Leches in Oakland.
Tres Leches.
Yeah. And they were able to kind of give me a guest spot there, which was nice.
You talked to Jill's husband? Jim?
No, but
because Rosa Grande just moved on.
Oh, because it's in town, right?
Right on Broadway.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, which is cool to have something besides a wine tasting shop there.
Yeah.
Tattoo place.
Something that feels like a little bit more than
So what kind of tattoos do you do? Like, what's the?
Yeah, so my tattoos are very similar to
your tiles?
The things that I draw in my ceramic work and animation work, kind of like scenes of like figures and also like little like head drawings and things like that, like different hairstyles and.
Have you seen the tattoo artist from Mexico City who does stitch tattoos? It looks like a patch. Yeah, she makes them look like patches, like they're sewing on your
skin. Oh, wait, I
skin.
have the Kevin embroidered?
Yes.
I love those. Those are crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those like that too.
But tattoo's been super fun. So I started just kind of like practicing like on my own for a little bit, but then I met some friends in Chicago who had a shop, and they were doing this really amazing thing to where they would have kind of like workshops around tattoo safety and tattoo like professionality, basically. Like, so in Chicago, it's pretty like loose on getting your tattoo certification. The only thing you really need to like to legally do it is your bloodborne pathogen certificate, which is like just kind of making sure that you know all of the setup and breakdown of like a tattoo station and making sure you're not getting any cross-contamination and stuff like that.
That's actually nice to know.
Yeah.
You're certified in that,
Yeah, exactly. So they like would have those for you, and they fundraise to also pay for everyone's certificate, which was nice. So then, because there's a lot of places in Chicago where people have their like private studios where they tattoo out of, which is like totally legal and totally like fun, and I don't know, it's a little less pressure than a traditional like like really like masculine tattoo shop. I feel like sometimes people have like a lot of horror stories from going into like just walking into places like that. So I think in Chicago it's pretty cool because it's like, I mean, it's happening in New York too, in LA, and also I'm sure like in the Bay too. People are kind of having more like a personalized studio spaces, and I think what comes with that is also like a more personalized tattoo like drawings and work and stuff like that. So people are bringing in, maybe some people are like kind of going on traditional tattoo imagery, but a lot of people are bringing in their own like outside practice influences into tattooing, which has been really fun.
It's interesting because I think what you're talking about as far as having your own spaces and that sort of thing, it's almost like a hairdresser, right? So do you usually have to rent a chair when you're going to a tattoo place, or how does that work? Is that an independent contractor's type of situation, but now you just have like your own space that you can create however you want without the overhead of...
My experience has been like, I guess the difference between, because some people call their spaces studios and some people call their spaces shops.
Okay.
But even in like studios, people will have multiple like stations for guest artists to come in. So my experience has been like, you come in, they kind of like show you around where all of like the things are you need to tattoo, and then you book your appointments, and then you give them a percentage basically at the end of the day. Yeah, so which is usually around 20, 25, 30%, which covers all of the different plastic materials you'll be like discarding or whatever, and you get like to use like the nice space and everything, and so that's been pretty nice.
Gerardo, you know, farmers market's coming up pretty soon, and we will have Azalea and Haylie down there, but I think we'll have to just set up a tattoo
shop. Get all the kids tattoo.
Interactive tattoos, sponsored.
Right.
Yeah, think they'll go for that?
I think you know, people just leave your kids with us.
Get a cabbage, get a tattoo.
Mushrooms, strawberries, you know.
Exactly. Work on a little clay, make a tile, and get a tattoo of that artwork that you decided last minute at Tuesday that a rainbow kitty was really good.
I love those.
Hey, we don't have a Bobo the Clown anymore. What was it?
Popo the Clown. Yeah, she used to do face painting.
Oh, in the market?
Yeah. We'll do tattoos.
Cute. Yeah, similar vibe.
Yeah.
I used to joke with people. They used to, hey, you know, where's Popo the Clown? No, she's not here, but I do have permanent market if you guys wanna. I'll face paint your kit.
Yeah,
it's still cool. It all comes out of. I just have a huge respect for, well, all artists, but especially illustrators, because it's just nothing that I'm like, you didn't continue on with that. Like, I learned some doodling and how to make some animals and stuff, but not that next level. And I especially love portraiture. And like, you set up these scenes that are basically you and your friends hanging out, and they show a lot of emotion, and it's interesting to see how they've transitioned over the years as well, you know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my inspirations, like for my art, is definitely like my life and my experiences with the people that I've like been close with throughout various parts of my life. And I think there's a wealth of like things in our lives that sometimes we don't really like realize. Because I've tried to think in college, I don't know if I was making work like this. I think a lot of it was, I think partially it was like, it was just really busy and exhausting. Like, you know, having to work all the time and going full time in school, and then also like writing papers and stuff like that. I think at college, my work wasn't very good. I couldn't spend too much time on like why I was making it. It was more like I was learning the techniques, which is, I think, a good reason to go to, you know, school. So I feel like it was great to actually like, once I was out of that setting, and it was crazy because it kind of lined up with quarantine. So it was 2020 I graduated.
And
2020 I graduated. So the last 4 months of school was all online. And then it kind of just, our graduation was like our names passing on a screen. Kind of watching, which was like too bad because I kind of wanted a bunch of people to come out. Yeah,
you're all like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. But because of that, I think it was just like this immense immediate break. Just getting to like kind of putting things into perspective of like what was like really important to me and like in my art and also in my life and things like that. So I think that, I don't know, maybe that was a big portion of why.
Did you stay in Chicago at the beginning?
Yeah. I was there for like until 2021, and then in 2021, me and Sydnie moved to Montana, which was kind of crazy too. Yeah.
Nice.
That's not the Red Clay Lodge.
It's the Archie Bray Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Red Clay Lodge is also up there.
Yeah. Man, that's pretty cool though. How was Montana after?
Montana's crazy.
Chicago.
Yeah. You know, after growing up in Georgia, I was like, I can handle Montana. I was like, whatever. But then it's quite sparse. I think in Helena, which was the town that we were in, was like 30,000 people. But it definitely didn't feel like it because it was super spread out. Luckily, we lived in the downtown area, which was like one strip of restaurants and little shops.
Kind of like Sonoma.
But it seems smaller because then you had to drive.
It's really spread out spaces up there.
Yeah, because then you have to drive like an hour and a half or 2 hours to the next town, and there's like cows.
Yeah,
and grass. So there's like these like pockets of people.
I really like in Montana. I want to go fly fishing over there.
It's beautiful. Oh, dude, the fishing. I really wanted to go fishing because I feel like I met so many people that fished. Yeah, I hear it's amazing out there. So, and it's beautiful, dude. It's like beautiful lakes and rivers. Like the best thing to do was like tubing in the summer. Like no one got anything done in the summer because it was only 2 months first of all. Because Montana it snows so long of the year. So the summer everyone's like bye studio. Like
my friend moved to
so
Montana.
Refreshing though. I know. I was just up in Idaho. It's along the same line. So
and my friend is like, when are you coming to visit? I'm like, I need to go over there.
Honestly, it's for, I talk about Idaho. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I could live here, but I love going there for all the crazy different bodies of water. Just the rivers are cold and crisp and rushing and it feels so good. And tubing, as you say it, and then you can go not that far and get a totally different experience and the hot springs everywhere. So
the hot springs are great too. I went to a few of them in Montana.
Yeah.
And we also went to, there's a national park up there. It's called Glacier National Park. I think we drove like 4 hours from Helena or 5, and it was crazy. It was like prehistoric. I've never seen like such massive mountains. There's like one road, like the tour road, if you wanted to do it like in one day, if you didn't want to stay in a lodge or anything. So we just kind of drove like that the whole day, and it was like you saw like, and there's places to stop off obviously, so you could see like waterfalls. And there's like this really
waterfalls too.
Because you don't see that like usually. And there was this really clear lake. It was crystal clear. I was like, lakes can be crystal clear because I don't know. I grew up in the South. I was like, it's kind of murky down here.
You don't believe that, when you're coming from here or there. You're all,
and then the rocks were like kind of colorful though. Like there were like, I don't know, a lot of minerals and I don't know what was going on. So the water didn't look that deep, but then you go in and it's deeper than it looks because the water was just so clear. Like, and it was beautiful. And it was like so sunny and like the sky was split. I was like, this is what heaven looks like.
You would love it.
Yeah.
Corrado. You'd love it.
I get excited when I go camping with my kids.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a river that runs through it, and it's the same thing. It's crystal clear. The water, you can see all the way in the bottom,
Yeah.
So I love places like that where I can see the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't like murky water.
I want to see what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I want to see
husband goes out there in the ocean.
Yeah, like I don't want to. You hear in Florida gators showing up people's pools. You're like, what's going on there?
Is that true? Do you ever have any of those experiences?
I've heard about them.
Yeah.
I didn't have a pool though.
The only experience I remember clearly in the South, like I don't remember a lot of that, but man, there was some big roaches because we also lived in like a very
big
rural, poor old house, right?
I'm scarred from the bugs.
Mazatlan, they was like this big, the roaches, and they're flying.
The roaches, they're flying roaches.
I have memories of them just like traveling across. I would like sneak out and watch TV in the middle of the night, and then I'd be like watching this like giant roach fly across the living room. I was like,
disgusting.
Hate that.
Yeah, but it was all part of this ecosystem too, as my dad explained later, because he told me about how like the roaches were there and the mice would eat the roaches and the snakes would eat the mice.
Yeah.
And so it's just this kind of constant cycle, you know, so there was some kind of one of those and all year long.
Yeah,
you know?
well, in Matlan there was a big spiders like this. As my hand.
That's what's I'm scared
about. And they used to go
Australia,
underneath the toilet. So sometimes you walk in the toilet and you're like,
no, I'm not
today.
okay with that.
Oh God! There was a nest of black widows underneath my mom's porch chair, but she wasn't scared of it. She was like, "They're just living there." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I love a porch chair.
Yeah. I was like, that thing is nuclear.
Yeah, I'm a big porch person, so I appreciate that.
Gordon, our maintenance guy, used to feed the black widows when we used to work together. We used to have the boxes where you open the water sprinklers. It's super dark. And then you open the box and there's a bunch of black widows.
With the red back.
And I used to go in there like this, and he's like, "Stop it! Don't kill my spiders!"
Oh,
and like, what? Every time I go in there, like, I was afraid I was gonna get, like, big, by those things.
He's like, no, you're right.
Nah, he goes in there like this, like, you just have to be careful.
He's like being in my mouth.
I didn't know that was in Gordon. God, I've had some nasty spider bites, and so have my friend around here, and so it's
Apparently, there was a snake underneath the clay shed thing.
Here today? Or recently?
Maybe it was last week. I don't know.
That's exciting. Don't be scared, folks.
Oh, I hate snakes.
Well, it was probably a garden. I don't like snakes so much.
Terrified of them. My aunt is terrified of the idea of snakes. Like, she starts sweating thinking about it.
I swear to God, there's a nerve that is connected from this thumb to my privates, because when I got bit by a spider one time on this thing, it hurts like somebody kicked me.
Pressure points.
In my privates.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's weird how all those nervous systems, because when I got bit on my back. I was crying a whole bunch. It was crazy what it did to my nervous system. I mean, I had a pretty bad, crazy rash all over the place.
What kind of spider was it?
I want to guess it's a brown recluse.
Ooh,
I'm not really sure.
Those are bad.
Because
Those are
I've had
bad.
friends that, but I remember I was thrifting. Don't be scared, folks. But I was thrifting, and I remember trying on these pants. They were actually old army pants.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, maybe that's some kind of chemical something.
Yeah.
It really took like a day or so to notice that there was 2 marks.
My
there.
My nephew got bit by one of those in his back, and the skin actually died around his. One of those brown ones. So
yeah.
Careful, man.
Gotta be well, all right. So flying roaches aren't that bad.
But I was gonna say, I guess technically in Tennessee, at the end of the Appalachian Mountains over there, we would go swimming a lot in creeks. But the water was really clear because it was running down the mountain and springs from the mountain. So that was like. That was nice because people were always like, oh, was there like snakes and stuff? Not there, at least. Like, it was pretty clear, so that was nice.
I mean, we had some snakes around the property, but it wasn't like here when you're taking a hike up in the mountains and there's freaking rattlesnakes and baby rattlesnakes and stuff. It wasn't like that at all, you know?
Yeah.
And those clear southern mountains that have like natural waterfalls coming down there.
And it's the best because it's so hellish in the summer. So it's like, oh, finally literally an oasis. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
I'm afraid of snakes. That's one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
And every time I see jungle, I'm like, there's snakes in there.
Oh,
like one day, one lady was showing me she was going on vacation somewhere like in the Philippines or something. Beautiful place, gorgeous place that was just like grassy, and then like banana trees and stuff. And then the pool is there, and it was like in the mountain too. And then I looked at it, and it was so green. I'm like, do they have snakes there? And she's like, I don't know. I never asked. He's like, let me ask. And then she started asking. She's like, yeah, there's snakes. Apparently, there's snakes in there in the grass and stuff. I'm like, ooh, that looks like
you're like, I know, I can
snake heaven, you know? So now she's like, oh, I'm afraid of snakes. I don't know if I want to go there now. And I'm like, oh, I ruined it for her.
Some people don't think about that.
I know. All right. Sorry, folks. Get you off on the snake tangent, right? Back to Haylie's work. I don't know if this is true too, but I've been kind of looking at some of your tiles. Of course, you know, these days you can do research on young people on Instagram. But also I came to your artist talk earlier in the year, and I feel like what you're doing right now in your tiles and your work is a little bit more like in repose, like reflective and a little bit more peaceful in nature as opposed to a lot of your urban work that I saw like you and your friends, and a little bit more of like queer punk vibe, like, you know,
like
there's
parking lots and stuff.
Yeah,
and cars,
exactly. And cigarettes and all that good stuff, you know, there's because I can relate on both sides, you know, this is super cool. But do you feel like, is that where your brain kind of is at? And does Sonoma have anything to do with that in Montana?
I think it does. Like somehow being in the middle of nowhere in Montana, I think that has affected it. And like just being in these residency spaces where I'm making all this work. Because even I did a residency in Georgia, which is cool because it was like 3 hours from my hometown. And I was there for like a month, but also in the Blue Ridge Mountains, surrounded by nature. It was like in the fall, all these creeks and like things like that. Even when I go home, like it's always, all right, to this day, like when I go home, all of my friends, the big events is always we go to the creek. I don't know. I think there's this intimacy in these moments in nature that like with people, but also when you're just experiencing walking around by yourself, you know, moments of like the light shining through the leaves and like the dotted.
I can definitely see it in your work. You can like see it like love. You know, like I see both of the tiles. You know, it's like I see love right there. You know, so it's pretty cool actually.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I feel like I like to show a lot of care, and
there's a lot of tenderness in movement besides your animated work.
Right.
It can actually in a still 2D piece feel a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Like in this tile that I'm looking at right now, like I can see both of you are looking at each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
You know, like
you and your sister. It's a tile of you and your sister, right? Or is it someone else?
It could be. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I love it.
Thank you. But I feel like there's so much of this like nature imagery is coming to the forefront of my work because I don't know, I kind of want to reflect like mirroring the intimacy and like care and love that we have with each other, but also that you see in nature, like you see with, you know, even like with the birds and also like the cycle of nature of the flowers blooming and things like that. I don't know. It's really beautiful. So
it does. Yeah. It affects you. That's a beautiful time about this year if we can get out. And like that, you're all, wow, look at that light filtering in and just a whole nother life going on. So, so that brings you here. You have a class coming up, don't you? Pretty soon?
If it fills, hopefully.
Yeah. When does it start?
I think it starts like mid-May. And it would be around, it's kind of like storytelling through surface on clay is kind of like what it would be about. Would you be
working through kind of the same thing and what illustrations, but also bringing that through in tiles or just...
tiles or any kind of forms people want to make, like if they want to put it on like a functional work tube. I guess my vision for the class would be like the first part of the class that we're kind of generating imagery together. Like, you know, I was kind of talking about a lot of people don't realize they could mine so much of their own experiences for their work. So I kind of want to like, you know, have people bring in like old photos and stuff like that they can maybe like, if they don't have...
coming through a personal space first.
Exactly.
I think that's more accessible because you don't necessarily have to come in as like this ceramics approach of shape or usefulness, how you tell your story. Yeah. And what I like about some of your animated work is you kind of erase it too, right? Like it's very, do something and then you're done with that and you move on and tell the next story. It's just on clay, not on paper. So it's this little animated.
Yeah. So there's so that's the second way that I animate on clay. Because the first way, it's like I'll have like 25 tiles lined out and then I'll like, you know, change the image slightly because, you know, that's kind of like traditional cell animation in that way. And then so I fire them, glaze them all individually, and then I have each specific thing. But then the other way I animate is on one wet slab of clay. I kind of got this idea from the South African artist William Kentridge. He developed this style of drawing charcoal on paper. And so he would do a thing where he would like draw a frame, take a photo, kind of wipe it away slightly or erase it, and then draw the next one. So you can see like this after image of each frame before that. So that's where I got the idea to do that on clay.
That's like using the Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You could go back on an Etch-a-Sketch and do that.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
What kind of animation do you like to watch?
What do I like to watch? I watch a lot of anime.
Yeah. Which one?
I've been watching One Piece right now.
One Piece?
Yeah, nice. It's an OG one. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's really long. It's like pirates, kind of silly.
What about like My Hero Academy?
I watched that one. Yeah.
What about the
you watch anime?
Yeah.
Demon Slayer? Unfortunately, I'm a nerd. I've seen a lot.
Yeah. One Punch Man.
One Punch Man's good. Yeah.
Takeshi, our sound editor, is just sitting here. He's just like, are you ready to put up your input on a piece of paper?
One was the Titan one.
That one was crazy, huh?
It was
a cool premise.
I didn't like the ending a little bit,
really?
But that's fine.
Yeah. It's debatable.
Dragon Ball Z.
Rest in peace, right?
I know.
The creator.
That guy died.
Yeah, I need to watch that one though. Because I've been trying to go back. That's why I'm watching One Piece finally. Because I haven't watched a lot of the old ones. Chainsaw Man, have you seen it? That one's good.
Which one?
Chainsaw Man.
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Takeshi, have you seen that one?
Not yet.
Yeah.
There's one that I started watching. It's called The Land. What's it called? Dry Land. It's like a desert land or something. It's about demons and humans working together to find the water because they live like in a desert.
Oh, cool.
Pretty
nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Another rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Anime and snakes, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
the natural tangents.
Yeah. What? And you have a show that is coming up, so if people can listen to this anytime in the future, because you will have a long life of some pretty cool stuff happening. But your show here in Sonoma opens on June 1st. Yeah. That I know.
Yeah. And
it will be up for how long?
It'll be up for a little under a month. I think from like June 1st to like the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the components, people coming out to the show that they'll see?
Yeah. So the title is Now We're Cooking with Grease, which is kind of like
Love it.
Like an old like Southern saying, like, you know, kind of like an optimistic tilt to it.
Now we're cooking with grease.
Now we're getting somewhere. Now it's like, now we're good to go. So in the show, I'm going to have a short film, which will be my animation on clay work, projecting onto the back wall. And then we'll kind of have some curtains slightly separating it from the rest of the space. So it could be a little bit more of like an intimate viewing, so you can kind of really focus on it. Nice. And then on the other two walls, the long wall next to the far end, we'll kind of have, I'm going to hang up all the tiles of the animation just all next to each other. It's going to look crazy, but I think it's going to be fun because people can kind of see how I'm breaking down the movements of everything in the film and stuff like that. And then on another wall, I'm going to have kind of like the single images tiles of various sizes. I have some pretty big ones, which is one that's kind of like,
what, like
2 feet by 2? Yeah, something like that, which is fun because they're the largest I've made, some of them that haven't broken in the kiln.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's something I've been trying to really crack down on, trying to get
Not crack,
the technical
the
technical aspects of it. But there are 2 of them that did crack, but in kind of like in ways that works with the imagery. So I'm excited to show you that. Yeah. I was like, we'll use it. Because I think part of it too is like my sister, Sydnie, she makes figurative sculpture, ceramics, and some pretty large scale stuff sometimes. And that stuff cracks all the time. And then you fix it.
You know what I find is that in ceramics, like if I get like a cup, like a mug or something, I don't want the mug to be perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Because if I want a perfect mug, I just go to,
go to CVS.
Get a perfect mug made by a machine, right?
Yeah.
I want to see defects on those things.
Yeah,
I want to see that the people worked on it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I totally agree.
That's when I see a cup and I go, I like this cup. I take it.
It's interesting in ceramics. We all know everything breaks, but everyone hides it. Everyone like patches it up immediately. Like is always ashamed when it happens. And I feel
crack
like,
shame.
Yeah.
Ceramics crack shame.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
or glaze strips.
Oh,
it's like the other.
Yeah, and I understand like why you wouldn't want cracks on like a functional piece because you don't want it like seeping through and stuff like that. Things aren't functional. It's like, why not
decorative tiles and that kind of stuff, storytelling. I feel like that just kind of adds to it.
Yeah,
it actually brings back this more.
Yeah, and it's like the honesty of what we're doing and things like that. I went to this opening. This person, Dee Alvarado, she's a ceramicist down in LA, and she had a whole ceramic show. She had pieces showing giant cracks in them, and I was like, yes,
awesome.
It's happening. We're showing the cracks. Oh yeah. So I think
now we're cookies.
And now we're cookies, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's fun.
I love that.
That there's like a kind of a shift in how we're viewing these kind of.
It's a wabi-sabi kind of thing that's been very much in Japanese cultures and other cultures. So why would we not show the imperfections?
What is it? I think it's called kitsugi. Is whenever they
kintsugi. Yeah, when they kind of take that.
Put the gold.
Yeah, we've had a couple of workshops in here.
Yeah. So that's what people always say. They're like, just do that. I'm like, well, I could do that, but.
Could just leave it.
I'm just gonna leave it. Yeah.
I'm gonna apply that to my car that my husband just scratched on the side.
Just gonna leave it.
Or maybe I'll just kintsugi it with gold.
Yeah. So for the show, a lot of the imagery, it's kind of like similar imagery that I've been doing of like kind of people holding each other and like being with each other, and then also these scenes in nature. But then also recently, something new I've been doing is I'll record like FaceTimes with my friends. And specifically recording these FaceTimes of my friends back home that I grew up with, showing all of our matching tattoos and all the matching.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm bringing the kind of like the tattoo component into it. They all say rotten or rot or versions of this kind of like cynical word, but it's fun because we're everyone's like laughing and like showing it, and everyone has them because I think it comes from my friend's music group. Part of it was like the word rotten, isn't it? So it's this really like sweet symbolic action that we've all have on each other to remind us of each other, and I think that's like really, really special. And I wanted to bring that into my work and into my show and a direct.
No, and I can see it. I mean, you can totally tell the message that you're trying to send. I mean.
So I think with the rotoscoping over like actual footage of these people that I'm referring to in my work anyways, it's kind of like bringing a certain context into it, which is pretty nice. Yeah. So there's going to be people like showing their tattoos.
I can't wait to see your work out there.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm excited too. Yeah. I loved it in the artist talk, and I was excited.
When I saw this tile, I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued now. I'm like, I want to see this. I really like this.
Let me plug my class one more time because I'm going to try to fill it. I'm also going to be kind of showing the way I treat the surface and it's pretty simple. I think a lot of people don't realize you can just use a brush and put glaze on because like on a flat surface, it's not going to slide off or anything. And
but you make it edges here. They're like borders, right? Yeah.
And that comes from just carving in the clay with the needle tool. So it's all like really simple things that I think people don't. Or at least when you like take a ceramics class, like it's not like immediately like what you're shown. But I think I kind of came into clay without a traditional background because I didn't take any class. It was just like my first instinct. I was like, I'm just gonna carve into this with this needle tool, and then just plop on some paint, and it like works very nicely. Yeah.
So you made something simple, right? I mean, the way you make it is simple,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things, like, when I hear about, like, ceramics, I feel like, oh, it's going to be so overwhelmed for me. I never, done it, I don't want to do it. And then when I see this, I'm like, maybe I can do this.
I love this.
Exactly. I appreciate that.
It comes from a storytelling perspective as well. I think over the years, some of the artists that have come through here that I personally loved have always been like, they're telling a story on clay. They're along that same line as use. As use. Anyway, just like Kate Knudsen, she draws like that. Fred DeWitt did a little bit of that too in here.
I love
and
Fred's
then
work,
in his show, he had people entering the spaceship. So what tile,
cool.
in his show, you got to use a tool to basically put your own. So I love that. But this is next level. Like you're also using color and glazing and tile. Yeah. And people can come from, okay, so maybe you can't get you want to tell a story, maybe you're not writing, this is your medium.
Yes.
Maybe people used to quilt and tell their like family stories through there. Mm-hmm. This is along those same lines only.
You know what, I saw this, I'm like, maybe she can do a big one with all these, like a scenery. And each child is a different, and then when you put it all together, it's one.
Well, that's kind of what you're doing.
That's what you're doing
in the show.
So I kind of made some bigger ones, and then I've kind of cut them up. And I do this to prevent cracking in the firing. So there is some pieces where I'm putting them together, and it makes like a full image. Yeah.
That'd be so cool if you can do that with kids,
Yeah, right. Really bring in like that. Like community and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think my work kind of revolves so much around that, anyways. Yeah. I was gonna say too.
We need you here longer now.
Yeah. Anytime, I'll come out. I think partially too why I love carving into the clay and why it was so instinctual for me is because I'm carving and vitrifying, putting these images into stone, and just really like showing the importance of these experiences and people and like the style and I'll kind of like that. Yeah, I like
it's very accessible to youth too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that are youthful, especially in a queer punk, you're representing so much that is speaking a true language there. It's not, I
guess I didn't mention that at all.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my like community and peers and like friends and close ones are like all queer and like black and brown. Like, so there's like, I feel like getting tattooed and having like very like fun styles and like piercings and like, upcycling clothes. Me and my sister will make clothes. I don't know.
Yes.
That's like a big thing that we do too.
That.
It's very economical, first of all, but it's also like, it's very like affirming to like, I don't know, have this shared style with other people that have similar experiences that you've gone through, whether they're like, a lot of them have been negative, but then also together, like we spend time with each other, it's like positive. So I don't know, that's fun.
Yeah, it captures it in a different way. For me, it's fun to go back and look at when they make these 70s movies of the punk rock days and it's weird captured footage, or it just relates to a time where actually there wasn't social media capturing it out there.
Yep.
But this also doesn't captures it in just a totally different way.
Yeah.
That can speak to the times and the language and the movement and the people, the youth. People are always fascinated about what is happening that they might not be a part of. That is, speaks to.
I was looking at the time like, maybe she put a phone in there,
I usually do. I usually put a little phone on the blanket, but I didn't put it in that one. Yeah. That's funny.
That's great.
You should see what I'm working on.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and I think everybody should. I think we got to wrap it up pretty soon.
Yep.
You guys did mention something about a ceviche off. So, Haylie,
we're having a ceviche competition here.
Yeah.
I was just challenged by Haylie here.
Yeah.
Softly. I know, Gerardo, you do some good work.
You do it's good work. What's your specialty?
This is how she started. Hey, Gerardo, you make a killer ceviche, but I make a really good one too.
I did.
What do you throw in yours?
It's very simple. I'll say I just use shrimp and marinated in the lime and then jalapenos, serranos, tomatoes, cilantro,
cucumber,
avocado, onions.
Wait.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll just need to be there to taste them because you know it's my favorite.
We need to test her. We need to see who's gonna.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
I guess
and it's the perfect weather for it right now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But
the summer comes in.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I am gonna have a ceviche in the summer.
Class coming
Maybe
up.
you want to come and help me with that one.
Yeah, because I saw
if
that
you're here.
and I was like,
Are you still
when
gonna be
is
here in June?
In June, yeah.
Or July? No, July.
Oh, it's in July now.
Yeah, July 20th.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a separate one then.
Before you go, we just have to do it. You know.
But then I like to do on the tostada like a little hot sauce.
My wife likes the mayo on the tostada.
Yeah. It's custard lime.
We do tostada with mayo, and then we do avocado, and then we put crab meat.
Oh, that sounds so good. I love crab.
Me too.
Wait, I just heard more. The bag of crab. Is
delicious.
You told me about that place up in Santa Rosa, and that there's more.
Is it like a seafood boil?
Yeah, seafood boil.
I'm in Georgia, you know what I mean? Like
so they put a plastic on your table, and then they give you a little a plastic apron, and gloves.
Yes.
And then you're just there turning up those shrimp.
Ooh, that's my favorite.
We might have to celebrate your show. Ceviche party, and let's go to Bag of Crab up in Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
My favorite places.
All right. So we might need to round it out. Haylie, thank you very much. Again, everybody, if you want to learn more about Haylie's work, go to Instagram to see a visual. And again,
so it's, I think you could probably find it just putting Haylie Jimenez, but the actual user is...
A lot come up, I'll tell you that, folks.
Yeah, @_H4YLI3, which is just my name spelled with symbols. Yeah.
And you can go to SonomaCommunityCenter.org if you're listening to this to find Haylie's class, which is coming up soon here in mid-May. We don't have an exact date, but I can tell you that her show will be here opening June 1st, running through June. She'll be down at Farmers Market with us a little bit, and you're around so people can come and visit you and check out your work.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Thanks, Haylie.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.